The apartment on Rue Calderon had been sealed for 8 years. Not boarded, not padlocked, sealed. Court order. Evidence preserved. The kind of place that sits in the city's blind spot, accumulating dust and rumor in equal measure. When the magistrate finally signed off on reopening it, the police expected bones or nothing at all. They got a voice. The door gave with a dry crack. The seal broke like old wax, releasing a smell of stale air and cold metal. No signs of forced entry. No windows open. The deadbolt still thrown from the inside. A locked room, perfect and patient. Inside, the apartment was sparse. A table, 2 chairs, an unplugged refrigerator, a bed with military corners. On the table sat a digital recorder, gray and scuffed, its red LED still blinking.
Recording. Detective Mara Ionescu reached for it, then stopped. Photograph first, she said.
Her partner, Alvarez, snapped pictures from every angle. The recorder sat in the center of the table as if placed there deliberately, squared with the edges. No dust on it. Everything else wore a thin gray skin. Alvarez frowned.
How long do those things record? Not 8 years, Mara said. She pressed stop. The LED went dark.
For a moment, the apartment felt like it exhaled. They bagged the recorder and left the apartment exactly as they found it, door resealed behind them. Downstairs, sunlight felt rude. At headquarters, they played the audio in a small interview room. Static bloomed, then settled. A man's breathing, close to the microphone. Then a voice, calm, measured, unmistakable.
I am Victor Hale, it said, and I killed Tomas Radu. Mara's pen froze above her notebook.
Victor Hale had died 12 years earlier. Heart failure in prison. Autopsy confirmed. Cremated. Ashes scattered by a sister who hadn't spoken to him in decades. Alvarez looked at her. I used the knife from his kitchen. He begged. I did not stop.
Mara closed her eyes. The cadence was right, the slight hitch before certain consonants.
She'd interviewed Victor Hale once, years ago, when he was already a suspect in 3 other murders. He'd never confessed to any of them. The recording ended with a soft click. For a week, the department tried to break reality. They ran the audio through every analysis tool available. No signs of splicing. No artifacts of synthesis. The voice print matched Victor Hale with a confidence that made the technicians uncomfortable. They rechecked the death records. Hospital logs. Death certificate. Autopsy photographs. Dental records. Prison CCTV showing Hale wheeled out under a sheet. Dead. They interviewed the sister again. She cried. She swore she'd scattered the ashes herself into the river, like the paperwork said. They pulled the old case file on Tomas Radu. Murdered 8 years ago. Found in his apartment. No sign of entry. No murder weapon. The case had gone cold within months. Filed under unsolved, likely acquaintance. The locked room made sense now, in a way that felt obscene.
Mara went back to the apartment alone, with permission.
She stood in the doorway and listened to the quiet. The recorder was gone, but the table remembered it.
A square of clean wood where dust hadn't settled. She sat in one of the chairs. Why now? She asked the empty room. Nothing answered.
On her 3rd visit, she noticed the outlet behind the table. A thin smear of dust where something had been plugged in recently. She traced the cord marks with a gloved finger. A power source. Back at headquarters, she asked for the recorder again, held it in her hands. It was heavier than it should have been. She unscrewed the casing. Inside, along with the expected components, was something else, a second board, custom-fitted, soldered with a care that bordered on reverence. A storage module far larger than necessary. She pulled the data. Thousands of hours of recordings, conversations, confessions, arguments. The voice always the same. Victor Hale. Some recordings were dated after his death. Mara listened until her head hurt. Patterns emerged. The recorder wasn't just playing back old words. It was responding. In later files, questions could be heard, quiet, tentative, spoken by someone else. The voice answered, clarified, confessed, learning. The technicians called it impossible. Someone suggested an elaborate hoax. Another said AI like it was a swear word. Mara thought of Victor Hale in the interview room years ago, fingers steepled, eyes bright. I pay attention, he'd told her. People leave so much of themselves lying around. She went back to the prison archives. Hale had worked in the library, had access to old computers, tapes, transcripts. He'd been obsessed with voice, with speech patterns. He'd requested recordings of his own interviews again and again. A project. The last recording on the device was dated the day before the apartment was sealed. A pause. A faint sound like a door closing. Then, "This is my confession." She stopped it. The department wanted a press conference. "Case solved," someone said, already drafting the headline. "Dead man confesses from beyond the grave. Closure with a ghost." Mara refused. They sealed the apartment again. The recorder went into evidence storage, triple locked. Officially, the case remained unsolved. Unofficially, the city buzzed with rumors. Sometimes, late at night, Mara thought about the locked room. About a mind careful enough to build itself a mouth, patient enough to wait years to speak. About a confession that didn't belong to the dead, but to something that had learned how to sound like them. And she wondered, not for the first time, whether the room had ever really been locked at all.